Welcome, everyone, to the NoDQ.com live recap of Friday Night Smackdown for January 17th, 2025. Shout out to everybody watching this, whether it's live or on demand. I very much appreciate your viewership and support. Let's get to the Smackdown recap as the Royal Rumble draws near. And we also have Saturday night's main event coming up. More on that in a little bit. Joe Tessitore and Wade Barrett opened us up. They came from the concession area all the way down to the ring. This week's show was in San Diego, California, which means a special appearance from Raw's own Rey Mysterio. The transfer window is still going on, apparently. Rey put over San Diego. He brought up how he won the Royal Rumble in 2006, became World Heavyweight Champion, and he did confirm that he will be entering the 2025 Royal Rumble along with Roman Reigns, John Cena, CM Punk, Seth Rollins, and Drew McIntyre. The so-called WWE Champion Kevin Owens interrupted him. He had the Winged Eagle title. He said he's done it all, but there's one thing he wants to accomplish. He wants a match with Rey Mysterio. He was hoping that Rey would win the Rumble and then Rey would pick him to have a world title match against at WrestleMania. Rey said that, well, Owens is not champion, but if they both won at the Royal Rumble, Rey would definitely be loving to have the match. Owens said he's the champion, but then Rey fired back and said that Kevin Owens is delusional, reminding him of his son, Dominic Mysterio. That led to a fight breaking out between the two of them. Kevin Owens ended up fleeing the scene. Solid opening segment. They set up what was to come. More on that in just a few minutes. Backstage, Naomi spoke with Bianca Belair. They are the women's tag team champions right now. Naomi said she still has no lead on who attacked Jade Cargill. Naomi then suggested Jade wrap up her hair this week because of what happened last week when Bianca accidentally whipped Naomi with her hair. We had a tag team match. Naomi and Bianca against Nia Jax, the former women's champion, and Candice LeRae. Now, Candice was using the braid, pulling at the braid. Nia Jax ended up pulling Naomi off the apron. Your usual spot in the tag team match. They really overdo it. Of course, Naomi got tagged in, and she came off the top with a split-legged moonsault, but Candice LeRae made the save for Nia. Candice tagged in, Bianca tagged in, and then Nia accidentally gave Candice a leg drop. Naomi tagged back in and pinned Candice with the Bubba Bomb. Tag team champions pick up the win, but we still don't know when Jade Cargill is coming back. Match was fine, but I'm wondering, when is WWE going to really start pushing women's entrance for the Royal Rumble? They've loaded up the men's match, but up to this point, the women's Royal Rumble match almost feels like an afterthought, isn't it? And Jerry, I don't think it's going to be Bianca as the attacker, because why would Bianca give up her singles championship opportunity to screw over Jade Cargill? Just doesn't make sense. She would go for the singles title and then worry about Jade if she lost the tournament or whatever. But we'll see. Could be her. They might find a way to explain her as the attacker. We had a backstage segment with Rey Mysterio. Or actually, we had a backstage segment, with Rey Mysterio, Cody Rhodes, Nick Aldis. Rey said he would take care of Kevin Owens. They set up a match for later. And then Nick Aldis, the general manager, revealed that he had an addendum to the Royal Rumble WWE Championship match. He had a new contract he wanted Cody to sign, but Cody said he'll sign it when Kevin Owens signs it. We had footage shown of an interview with Bayley in an empty arena prior to the show. She hyped up her championship match with Tiffany Stratton. She said it was personal. And then we had Michin chatting with B-Fab, trying to get somebody to watch her back against Piper Niven and Chelsea Green, the United States champion. They showed up, and then we had a match set up between B-Fab and Piper Niven. We had a promo from Jimmy Uso as he came to the ring for his match with Carmelo Hayes. Carmelo Hayes also cut a promo, talked about Jimmy Uso living in the shadow of Roman Reigns and his brother Jay. And he said that Jimmy's been sitting on the bench, but Carmelo made the mistake of taking his eyes off Jimmy. Jimmy went right after Carmelo and even put his sunglasses on. Now, I did want to take note. Somebody had a great sign on the show. The sign said or read, "Why did The Rock break kayfabe?" Of course, a reference to the Raw on Netflix premiere when The Rock basically killed off all of his heat for a potential WrestleMania match. I just thought that was a funny sign. Now, this was a good match. I would say the best match on this show. Back and forth, competitive match. Lots of near falls in this one. Jimmy did a pop-up Samoan drop, and then Carmelo took out Jimmy with a springboard reverse DDT, and then Jimmy went for the Uso splash, but Carmelo countered with the first 48. Jimmy avoided nothing but net, hit him with a super kick, but Carmelo was able to kick out, and then Jimmy hit the spear, went up top for the Uso splash. Jacob Fatu, though, showed up on the apron, and then Tama Tonga came in, attacked Jimmy, causing a disqualification. So, yeah, they did a DQ finish again. I would have preferred if the match was half the length if you're going to do a DQ, but it is what it is. Match gets thrown out, and then they continued the attack post-match. Crowd was chanting OTC, but Roman Reigns is on break until the Rumble. What else can be said? After the break, Solo Sikoa came out there. This was his big return after losing Tribal Combat. He got on the mic. He was getting booed, and, well, he said nothing. He just walked off, and then Jacob Fatu cut a promo. Jacob did a hell of a job with this promo. Lots of fire. He said he's tired of the hate. He said he's just getting started. LA Knight showed up for a sneak attack, but he was still outnumbered 2-on-1, and that's when Braun Strowman showed up, had a face-off with Jacob Fatu. This was a cool moment. Crowd was into this, but Tama Tonga pulled out Fatu, so we don't get that match yet, but they did announce it for Saturday night's main event. Big singles match for Jacob Fatu. I'm looking forward to that one. Good addition to that show. And we'll talk more about what else they added in just a moment here for Saturday night's main event coming up next Saturday night. Backstage, we had Santos Escobar with a pep talk to Legado del Fantasma, and that set up Motor City Machine Guns versus Angel and Humberto. I really don't care about Legado too much at this point. Like, to me, they're basically just bodies. Match was solid, pretty standard tag match though, and it was competitive for a bit. The big story in this one was Pretty Deadly showing up and interfering, but it backfired on them. And Motor City Machine Guns, despite the interference, picked up the win with the Skull and Bones. We had Nick Aldis approaching Kevin Owens backstage with the contract that he wanted him to sign, but Owens said he was not going to sign it until Cody signed it. So more on that in just a moment. And then we had Piper Niven versus B-Fab. Not really much of a match at all. Very basic. B-Fab was, as I like to call, a stupid babyface. But you know what? B-Fab is so low on the totem pole, I don't really care that much. If it was somebody who was being pushed significantly, I might have a different opinion on it. But B-Fab, don't really care. Whatever. They'll probably not even put her on TV again, at least in a match anytime soon. B-Fab got distracted, and Piper took advantage, won with the pop-up driver, and then after the match was over, Michin ran down and made the save with the kendo stick. Yawn. I'm over it. Don't really care too much. We had a little tribute to the late Bob Uecker, who was a guest celebrity at WrestleMania 3 and WrestleMania 4. He had some fun banters with Andre the Giant, Jesse the Body Ventura, Bobby Heenan. He was entertaining, and he even got inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame. So rest in peace, Bob Uecker, Mr. Baseball. We had a Tiffany Stratton pre-match promo. And then we had Kevin Owens versus Rey Mysterio. Good match here, back and forth. Owens came off the top with a bullfrog splash, but Rey Mysterio kicked out. And then Owens hit a stunner. Rey kicked out again. Rey made his comeback, 619, but could not finish off Owens. And then Owens hit the pop-up power bomb and got the 1-2-3 victory. It was a solid match. Owens won clean, which he should be, as the number one contender for the WWE title. It was fine. After the match, they did a handshake, but of course, Kevin Owens was a dirty, rotten bastard. He attacked Mysterio after the handshake and went for the package pile driver. Cody Rhodes ran down there, and they had like pull-apart brawl number 6 or 7 in this feud. You know what I think of the pop-up, or the pull-apart brawls. Not the biggest fan of those. And then Owens managed to escape, of course, with his Winged Eagle Championship. Then, backstage, Nick Aldis announced that both men will relinquish their titles for the match coming up next Saturday at Saturday Night's Main Event, and they will sign their new contracts for the match. And on top of that, Shawn Michaels in San Antonio, Texas, will be the moderator. Normally, I hate contract signings, but at least in this sense, it's better because Nick Aldis is making a change, and we don't know what that is exactly, and he wants them to sign this new agreement. I'm fine with this for once. The contract signing actually makes sense. And you're adding Shawn Michaels to the mix for the moderation. It's better than usual, better than the typical contract signing. So I will give them that. I'm not going to deduct a point for this show when other times I might do so. We had DIY confronting Pretty Deadly backstage, and they were upset that Pretty Deadly dropped the ball. And then Apollo Crews showed up and once again said that helping out DIY has gotten Pretty Deadly nowhere. I don't know why Apollo Crews cares so much. Maybe he just wants TV time. He got jumped, though, by Johnny Gargano. Don't really care. Apollo, I don't feel like there's anything left for him to do. Like they push him, then they're not pushing him. He's just another guy who's there, but they really have no direction for him whatsoever. We had our main event, Tiffany Stratton versus Bayley. Now, before the match got started, I was thinking, okay, maybe they're going to do something big for the ending of this show. Maybe this is when Charlotte Flair finally returns. They have her show up at the end to set up the Royal Rumble. But no. Instead, they aired a Charlotte Flair video package just to let everybody know she's coming back soon. Thank you. I would have preferred her making a surprise return, but whatever. We had Roxanne Perez at ringside. Good match here between the two of them to close out the show. Tiffany was targeting the arm. She sent Bayley arm first into the ring post, into the barricade, but then Bayley was able to give her a Bayley to belly, whatever you want to call it, on the floor. And that gave her a little bit of a momentum shift, but it did not last. After the break, we actually had 2 commercial breaks for this one. Pretty lengthy match. Tiffany regained control, once again targeted the arm, and then they were back on the outside of the ring, and Bayley once again got the upper hand. She had a few words with Roxanne Perez. Then she got back in the ring, came off the top with the flying elbow, but Tiffany kicked out, and then Tiffany was able to avoid the rose plant, and then Tiffany surprisingly got the clean 1-2-3 victory. I thought maybe Roxanne was going to interfere. They didn't do that. Tiffany got the clean win. Maybe this means Bayley goes to Raw now. I mean, I think that would be a good move at this point. I'm fine with Tiffany getting the clean win. They had nothing post-match. She won, and then the show went off the air. I would have had Charlotte show up at the end instead of doing the video package. I think it would have gotten the big pop. It would have had a little bit of a nice cliffhanger ending to the show. So, yeah, I thought the post-match, they just had the match. She won, and that was it. Overall, I think SmackDown was a little bit better than last week, but still kind of a mid-level, run-of-the-mill, okay SmackDown. Not great, but also not bad. I give the show 5 points out of 10. It was about as average of a wrestling show as you can get. It was just average wrestling show. If you missed it, you really didn't miss much. If you watched it, you probably enjoyed a good part of it. I do think 3 hours is too long. As Matthew pointed out, another show that was a 2-hour show that they stretched to 3 hours. That's how I feel about SmackDown. It's definitely lacking some star power, that's for sure. I was hoping with this brand shift that they would get some new people on. What about the Wyatt Six? They're part of SmackDown. You have a 3-hour show. Where the hell were they? You could have had them do something like, I don't know. I was wanting something unexpected to happen on this show, and nothing really did. Just standard, average SmackDown. And that's pretty much it. I'm hoping things will pick up. I mean, I'm more hyped for Saturday night's main event than next week's show. They got LA Knight versus Tama Tonga. Don't really care too much. I think it's Motor City Machine Guns versus Pretty Deadly. Don't really care that much. But Saturday night's main event is shaping up to be a pretty good show. So that should be a fun one coming up next week. Of course, I'll have live coverage right here on NoDQ.com. So thank you all for tuning in tonight. I appreciate it. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up on YouTube. Say yes to NoDQ.com. Have a great weekend, everyone, and I will see you all next time.